Hello everyone and welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I have a new project for you today, but before I forget, you will find all the dimensions and all the supplies used in the description below. Also, you'll find a link to my online store and my email address if you have any questions. Also, please remember to subscribe and like. I am trying to build this new YouTube channel and new subscribers are most welcome. Also, once we get the subscribers up to over 100 plus, we can start doing some additional things like free giveaways and such. So please consider subscribing, and I hope to hear from you soon. So let's get started. This card is I'm calling the Flower postage stamp card. When I first seen this paper, several things popped in mind, but this particular sheet of paper reminded me of some postage stamps we had in the US, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or so. And so that's what gave me the inspiration to do. But this is the paper. Like I said, some of these I don't have full sheets because I've been using it. I love this paper pack. And my new order has not arrived, so I don't have any more. But this paper is this. And then if I flip it over, you can see it's quite beautiful on the other side as well. Beautiful designs. So this is the paper we're going to be using. In particular, we are using this sheet of paper. Set that all down, and there it goes across the wood floor. You can find this paper for free in the new celebration that goes through August 31st of 2022. If you purchase $100 worth of product, you can get this set for free. It includes the paper and the stamp set, which I find these flowers quite beautiful. So let's get started and let me show you what we're going to be making. This is my postage stamp card. I'll try to get this up a little closer so you can see it without the glare. Just a nice simple card stamped inside, and we have a matching envelope to go with it. So here we go. We also, besides the Wonderful World, we are using Art Gallery, and we are going to be using the postage stamp punch. Now the Art Gallery set has dies in it, and when you cut them out, they're not exactly the same as the postage stamp, but they go really quite well with it, and you'll see how I use those. So we're going to get started with some stamping first, but I guess I should tell you the supplies we're using. The first card I made was made with Pear Pizzazz. This one is going to be made with Mossy Meadow. This is a standard size card, 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded. If we could find the wayward bone folder that disappeared, which I will find in a moment. It's always surprising to me how something that's on your desk disappears. But anyways, use a bone folder to fold that, and I will do that later as soon as I find the missing item. I know I'm not the only one that misplaces things. You also need, of course, an envelopes so we can decorate. This is from this. I hated cutting into this paper. I think it's so beautiful. But I needed the greenery. This one is 4.25 by 4. This is a piece of basic white, 4.25 by 5.25 by 4. Like I said, all the dimensions will be below. A scrap of white and a scrap of Mossy Meadow. So we're going to get the stamping done first. So we'll set the pieces away that we don't need to stamp. And I've already mounted our saying and the flower we're going to be using. So we'll go ahead and do the saying first. I'm using Mossy Meadow. And I need my mat. And as some of you may notice, I have got new covering for my mat. They were looking pretty scruffy, so I decided to change it. And from Artful Galleries, we're using Happy Birthday. You can make this any type of card you want. I just happen to need a lot of birthday cards. And just stamp that down, just like that. And I'm going to grab my cleaner real fast, give it a little rub, dry it off, and set it aside. And that's all the Mossy Meadow we need. Next, we need Orchid Oasis. Let me set that aside for a moment. And we are going to stamp our flower. Now, I showed you a technique a few videos ago about this, doing it with a marker. We're going to use some marker. We're actually going to use Old Olive. But you can stamp these, and you basically want to bring your ink, but only ink the flowers. And then what you want to do is get a very high-tech scientific tool out, a Q-tip, and just gently go in here and rub off the little bit of green area that you hit before. It's still going to look a little purple, but once you go over with the green is what's going to appear. Make sure this goes straight into the garbage can, or you might end up with ink all over. Then take your Old Olive. If you have a Mossy Meadow pen, unfortunately, my Mossy Meadow pen, I went to grab it and it's used up. They do die eventually. It was quite old. Just give it. And then I'm going to give it a nice light huff. And I'm going to stamp this right across here. Pressing firmly, but not rocking. And there's our flower. Set that one aside. Now we do need to clean this stamp again because I want to use it one more time on the envelope. Like I said, this is my wet side. Give it a nice little scrub. And that's the dry side. And it's all dried off. Next, I want to do this corner. It's my envelope. I want to do this corner. And I just want this flower. So I'm literally going to just take the bigger blocks and stuff. I find it easier to take the stamp to. So I'm going to take and just do that one flower. And I've got another scientific tool. Take that off, and I'm going to do just a little bit of green right here. And I'm going to grab, well, I was going to grab a stamp pad, but that's okay. You want to just put this in wherever you want to go. I was looking for a scrap piece of paper, but I forgot to grab one, but it should be okay. So I made it sure go there. So that's our envelope done. And we're done with the ink. We'll quickly clean this off. Didn't get that one quite right. There we go. And set it aside. And we're done with the pen. And we'll get rid of this before I hit something with it. Okay, so let's go back to the card section now. This is going on the inside of my card, so I'm going to go ahead and stick that in. Use Seal Plus, Tear Tape, those might be a little strong, or just glue, whatever your choice is for gluing in stuff onto your cards. Center that into the center. At least plenty of room to write. Then we're going to take this. I was trying to see if there's a right way or a wrong way to this, and there really isn't, but you can make that choice on your own. Or you could use a different background. There was the ones with the little teeny flowers I thought about using as well, but I liked the green. And center that in. Now, before we assemble the card, we do need to do a little, do a little cutting. And we're going to need a little cranky for that. This little cranky, Stampin' Cut and Boss machine. I named my little cranky. I know other people have named it different names. I've heard Lucy and Becky and all kinds of things. So we're going to plate number 1, plate number 2, the item we're going to cut, and then we're going to be using this die from Art Gallery. And we're going to just sort of center that right in the center. And I'm going to grab a little Post-it to hold it down. I don't want it shifting on me when it's in the machine, and my plates are a little worn, so when they get a little worn, they, you know, shift. The other thing is you need to make sure to rotate these plates every time you use them, you know, up and down, flip them over. Don't set them in the same way all the time, or they will bow. And we'll just crank that through. And there's our saying. We'll set that aside. Now we need a piece of Mossy Meadow out of the same size. This one I'm not worrying about taping it down because there's no writing to hold in place. As long as it just stays on the paper, we're okay. And he just folds up and moves out, and he's very lightweight, which I love. I'll set my die. I don't know if anybody's ever seen one of these. I've been using these for years. They are magnetic bowls for putting tool bolts and stuff in when you're working. If you're working on a lot of projects, they're great to put your dies in to. Another bowl or something, even if it's not that magnetic, if it's a bowl or something to throw them into, so you keep track of your dies. It's always very helpful. So this here, we have to do a little construction here. And what we're going to do is we are going to snip this literally in half. So find about the middle point, cut it in half. And what you're going to do is you're going to line this up, and you see all the notches. What I'm doing is I'm on the second notch in, I'm lining that up. So I'm putting my finger here, I'm grabbing my glue, putting just a little glue here. It wants to come out. I'm lining up so all the other pieces are behind it. So all you're seeing is that little piece of green sticking out. We know we want to come to the second one on the other side. You can come further out if you want, go further in. Just line that up. Oop, I missed. It's one thing with, I was off by one square, one little punch area. One thing with Tombow using the glue, you have a little bit of wiggle room. So to mount this onto the card, which we're going to do next, you want some dimensionals. Now, on the side of your dimensionals, you could use this piece as well, or on the end. I just cut off along here because I needed some smaller pieces. And I just take this strip, and it's about the length I need. Pull that off. You long strip. Now we do have large strips of dimensionals in the annual catalog, which you can get, but I believe in using every bit of my dimensionals, and this works great on these long things. So we know our card is 5.5 inches high. So what I want to do is I want to put this on a grid. And this, as I've said before, this is an old Stampin' Up grid. I wish they'd come back with them. They do have grid paper, which if you don't have a mat, I would strongly recommend getting grid paper because it does help you get your projects straight. So we know this is 5.5, and half of 5.5 is 2 3/4. So right in here is 2 3/4. So I'm going to sort of line this up, and I'm going to look how far off from the side I am. And I'm doing this direction because it's just easier for me to line it up with the grid paper. So about like that. That is your happy birthday. Now, that paper that was so pretty, I went in and I punched out the flowers. And then I mounted the flowers with corresponding paper. So this is Rich Razzleberry. this Melon Mambo, this is it's Orchid Oasis, and this is Flirty Flamingo. Now I went ahead for time's sake and did these, but what you do is you're setting these up so you have these in the corner, the paper, so they look out, so the paper is on the outside of all the way. So what I did with this is, if you look here, we're lining up, I'm trying to show you, get my hand out of the way, sort of lining up this one with this second notch here. But you can go bigger if you wanted. If you have doing a bigger card, you can go bigger. It's whatever you choose to do. So we know we need glue in this section. And we're going to line it up. And line it up both directions as best you can. Like that. And then we'll put some more dimensionals on this one here. Like I said, this is a pretty fast, easy card. And I'll move this in a little bit closer to me. So we'll go ahead and start with this one in the corner. And when I sort of lined it up, I looked at where the sides were and just sort of lined it up. You know, it's and then we're lining this one up. Keep in mind about where you're at for distance. That. And top to bottom, side to side, trying to line it up with the one above. And make sure your papers go in the right direction. And there, if I get some of the dimensionals out of the way, they'll be through the house soon. We have the card, and this is the one I made previously. Stamped a little different flower. In this side, this one has a pink flower. Oh, and we almost forgot. It has a butterfly. I have to do a little bling. Using the brushed brass butterflies, and where's my little pony? I used a large butterfly, and I put right next to the happy birthday here. Now we're done. So, please give this a try. I think you'd enjoy it. It's, like I said, it's a fun project. You could do this with other papers that have, you know, designs in them, or you could stamp your own designs, which is a lot of fun too. But this is a really nice project, and I hope you try it. So please subscribe so you know when I upload a next video, and have a great day. Thank you.